Chelsea, is there industry bias when you're competing for a spot with a PE firm? In other words, is there a preference for executives who hail from certain industries and similarly with certain functional area experience, or is that not the case?
Well, we see a lot of there's a lot of bias. They want executives who are have outstanding track records, and it can speak to that fast growth. They're looking at a 3-4 year turnaround. It's been extended because of the market conditions we've talked about, because it used to be 3-4 years, 5 years. They want companies that they want executives that come from companies very similar. It's in executive search, we're looking for, the term's a little cliche, but a needle in a haystack, and that doesn't that still applies within private equity.
It's a risk function for them. So by finding someone who comes from an industry and understands the intrinsic elements of that industry, they de-risk the situation a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think functionally, the commercial functions, sales, marketing, there's a heavy emphasis on coming from as close to the industry as you can. General management, it's kind of the same story. Some CEOs are pretty good at lateral movers, but for the most part, again, there's a comfort in having someone that comes from the industry for the private equity sponsor. I would say the challenge point to that is chief financial officers, leaders in human resources, leaders in kind of the CIO, CTO side of the house, CISO, et cetera, tend to be a little bit more industry agnostic. It's easier to make the argument that you can move in a broader scope. There's still going to be a big difference between someone who's come up the finance ranks in a manufacturing environment and now they're going into a healthcare company, healthcare services company. That's a harder transition to convince private equity to let you do. But you have more latitude in, I think, in some of the more kind of, call it, centralized office functions.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think on the commercial side, it's critical. I mean, thinking about it from their perspective, they want to bring in, whether it be a sales or ops, someone who can plug and play and bring in a team and have that happen very quickly. So I think that's why it's more critical. But I agree with Rich on the back office shared services piece, that's a little bit more industry agnostic.